Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another beer review with me, Peter, the Master of Profits. Today we're reviewing more beer that I brought home from CBC. Today we have a little brewery showcase actually of a quite new brewery from the UK. These beers are from Front Brewing Company based in Glasgow in Scotland, and they were founded last year by Jake Griffin, who I met at CBC, who gave me these cans and asked me for a review. An honest review of his beers. So thanks a ton, Jake. Fairly new brewery, as I said, started last year, 2015, and these are the two beers they've produced so far. They do contract brewing or gypsy brewing, and these are their Ishmael IPA and Ahab Stout. Both are 6%, American style IPA and a lush stout apparently. They say it sounds like it's going to be a typical West Coast American IPA with like piney, bitter, earthy, whatnot flavors. They use water, malted barley, wheat, hops, and yeast in the IPA. And in the stout, they use the same, but also oats. They don't state what hops and what types of malt they use, but hey, that's okay. So it should be interesting to see what Upfront Brewing Company can do. So the first beer, guys, I have poured is the Ishmael IPA, and it pretty much looks like a West Coast IPA in the glass. A hazy orange color, white head. Let's check out the aroma. Yeah, there's a good kick of malt sweetness to it, malt backbone. They say that on the label too, though. Like it's got some malt flavor, some sweet malt. Did it say biscuity malt or something like that? I think so. Yeah, sweet malt characteristics. It's for sure. It's very reminiscent of something like Torpedo, actually, by Sierra Nevada, a more old school IPA. There's definitely some grapefruit, some sweet citrus, pine. It's not as explosive as some of the IPAs I've had lately, but still smells pretty nice. So let's give it a taste. Cheers, guys. Very bitter and piney. Piney, earthy on the back end. Wow. And with the grapefruit. Malt is more subdued on the flavor. This is drinking pretty nicely. Really, almost like acrid bitterness to it. I think sometimes you get that with beers that has been dry hopped and then they're super, super fresh. You get like an intense acrid flavor, especially if you try to brew some of the New England IPAs. They're actually best with like 4 weeks of age on them when you've done dry hopping them, because the dry hopping is just so intense. There's a little bit underlying sweet malt, but other than that, it's earthy, resiny, garlicky notes with a very bitter grapefruit, some dankness. Very West Coast, but with almost kind of malt, a little bit of malt flavor that you think of when you think the old school East Coast IPA. So some of those kind of caramelly notes with the earthy, resiny flavors. But yeah, it's a nice enough IPA, but not like the best of the best and whatnot. But I still enjoy it. So let's try Ahab, the stout. That's pretty much pitch black in the glass. A little bit of a reddish tone to it, that's it. Nice beige head. Let's check out the aroma on Ahab. Roasty, toasty, sweetness of the oats. This smells like classic oatmeal stout. A little bit of dark fruits to it. Yeah, smells a whole lot like some of the more traditional UK oatmeal stouts, actually. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Nice oaty sweetness. Kind of like a slightly hefty roast, like like that hefty, almost burnt roasty flavor, like burnt wood almost, or something like that, or burnt coffee. It's got some coffee notes to it as well. A little bit of that sweet oatiness, almost an ashy aftertaste. There's a little bit of licorice. There's a little bit of dark fruit. Some of the coffee. A little more oat maybe, and not as much of the harsh roast flavor for me, but still nice stout. Pretty much classic kind of UK type, or not just UK, but just classic kind of oatmeal stout, I think. So yeah, I think I prefer Ishmael more, so I'm going to go 85 on that one. It's a pretty nice IPA. It's not the type of IPA I prefer at the moment, as you guys know. I prefer the super juicy, tropical fruity IPAs, but these type of IPAs are also still fairly nice. So 85 for Ishmael and Ahab. Let's go and 83. Yeah, 83. It's still, both are still pretty well made beers, but they're not as maybe this sweet as I prefer in stouts or oatmeal stouts, and this not as juicy, which is what I prefer in IPAs. But as you guys know, I rate subjectively on what I prefer. But for what they are in their different styles, they are pretty well brewed. So thanks a ton to Jake for the Front Brewing Ahab and Ishmael. Cool to try your beer, dude. Check them out, guys. If you live in the UK, if you live in Scotland, I'm not sure if they're available outside of the UK yet, but thanks for passing on these cans to me at CBC. So guys, if you've had a chance to try either Ahab or Ishmael by Upfront Brewing, definitely let me know what you think of them. And as always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. And I want to say cheers, and see you guys in another beer review.